Welcome to Daily Office Devotions. I'm Reggie Kidd, and every Monday through Friday, I offer devotional observations on some portion of that day's readings for morning prayer in the Book of Common Prayer. Thanks for joining me. It's Thursday, and our readings find us in year 2 of the daily lectionary, Proper 25. For our Old Testament reading last week, this week, and the next, I'm treating the Song of Songs instead of the lectionary's choice, Ecclesiasticus, Wisdom of Ben Sirach. Together, I hope we are discovering or rediscovering some of the wonder of this best of songs. Today's portion is Song of Songs, chapter 5, verses 2 through 8. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Today's verses from the first half of Song of Songs, chapter 5, form a matched set with those from the first half of chapter 3. Both sets of verses have a dreamlike aura about them. In both sets, our female singer wanders nighttime streets, seeking her lost lover. This time, his absence is due to her slow response to his overtures. Regretting her reticence at intimacy, she rashly rushes out into the city streets in the middle of the night. As before, she is met by the city's sentinels or watchmen or guardians, Hebrew shomerim. Unlike last time when the guardians left her in peace, this time they rough her up. As though she were a compromised woman, they strip her of her mantle and beat her. The vignette ends with her appealing to the daughters of Jerusalem to find her beloved and tell him, "I am faint with love." As with the previous reverie about a nighttime search for love, the story itself reads more like a dream. In this case, a bad dream, more than a recollection. And its deeper meaning for the recorder of the song and for those who deemed it worthy of inclusion in the canon is probably to be found in its theological symbolism. As commentator Robert W. Jensen crisply puts it, Israel is asleep and the Lord is absent. And when God's people are slow to respond to the Lord and he departs, her lovesickness overwhelms her prudence. She mounts a wild and unconsidered quest to satisfy the longing that he has awakened. This time, the keepers of the faith, Moses and the Levites and their prophetic heirs, offer no comfort, but only judgment. The singer's song in today's verses tells a cautionary tale. In Israel's history, one thinks of the golden calf, a wrong-headed attempt to make up for Moses' absence during his 40 days on Mount Sinai, to which Moses responds harshly. Or Israel's tendency to turn to Canaanite deities of fertility in the face of drought, prompting the prophet's persistent reproofs. One may even fast forward to the bride of Christ flirting with, even taking to her bed, alien lovers of secularism, nationalism, racism, materialism, spiritualism, occultism, countered by faithful preachers' steady urging to return to your first love, Revelation chapter 2, verse 4. In such periods, the guardians do their guarding by rebuking, as well they should. And looking for love in the right place. Oddly complementary to today's reading in Song of Songs is the vision in Revelation chapter 12. Here, Michael the archangel fights the dragon who has been threatening the Queen of Heaven and her royal son. The Queen of Heaven sojourns on earth where the dragon, that is, the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world, has been cast down from heaven. Ousted from the heavenly court, the dragon devil carries out his campaign against her down here below. With this captivating cluster of images, John symbolically portrays the church's career, transformed from Queen of Heaven to bride in waiting during her period of persecution on the earth. With the devil's forced change of venue, worship breaks out in heaven. The devil's being thrown down signals his end and simultaneously the inauguration of the kingdom of God. Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of the Messiah. For the accuser of our comrades has been thrown down. Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. I think that as John writes these words, he expects us to recall what he had recorded Jesus saying about his upcoming death. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be driven out, and I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself. He said this to indicate the kind of death he was to die. John chapter 12, verses 31 through 33. The cross of Christ becomes the place where the devil is deposed, disarmed, and defeated, so says Paul in Colossians chapter 2, verse 15, and where his grip on the sinful nations is broken, John chapter 12, verse 32, with Revelation chapter 20, verses 2 and 3. Happily, the grand arc of the biblical narrative does not culminate in the nightmare of our missing out on God's loving advances, experiencing shame and pain like the lost lover at the hands of the guardians. Her groom will not leave his bride abandoned and shamed in the dangerous nighttime streets. The crux of the Bible's storyline is a cross where our heavenly lover captures our hearts for all time, where all our resistance and all our reluctance fade away, and where the voices of our accusers, whether guardians or enemies, get drowned out by shouts of, "Now have come the salvation and the power." Be blessed this day.